be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. To protect your brother, even from himself. To give support at your own expense. And when wearing the black and gold suit of armor, make sure nobody desecrates it, disrespects it. Most importantly, we ourselves don't dishonor it. From previous legends who have donned the black and gold. These virtues I learned while playing for the Steelers are what make the legacy of the black and gold timeless. They are passed down in the locker room from the steel curtain to anyone who valiantly wears the black and gold. Creating a brotherhood that is deeper than money, business, and winning. To be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. This is our culture, Steeler culture.
Now, here are your hosts, Rob and Dan, the Steel Twins.
God, I hate Joe Flacco. I just gotta say it right here to open this podcast, man. I despise Joe Flacco. It is halftime for the Browns and Jets game, and it's
it might as well be over at this point.
It's not even a game, dude. The Jets.
Wait, are you kidding me?
The Jets.
Are you kidding me? Joe Flacco of all fucking people, 38-year-old Joe Flacco, fresh off the couch, is just slinging the freaking football, dismantling the Jets defense, saving the Browns season, leading them to a playoff spot.
And potentially, who knows, in some NFL weird world, maybe the _1 seed. The Ravens and Dolphins tie.
If there were a year for that to happen, it would be this year.
Unbelievable. Unfucking believable, dude. Swear jar. And I don't understand what's going on right now. There's only so much you can ask from the Jets. We were hoping they would play spoiler today for the Browns.
You can never rely on the Jets.
Never. So that's come and gone. Browns are up 34 to whatever 17, whatever the score is at halftime. Who cares, dude? The game's over. Browns are blowing them out. 34 first half points to Joe Flacco. I mean, unbelievable. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Joe Flacco. We're not here to talk about the Cleveland Browns. We're here to talk about our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers as we get ready to prepare for the Week 17 matchup heading to Seattle, a place where the Steelers have not won since 1983. It's been a long time since we have gotten a win in the victory column in Seattle.
And just in general, over at the West Coast, where Mike Tomlin has always struggled over there.
Yes, and this is a 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. So it's not looking in our favor if you look at it from a history factor, man. But we're looking at two teams that are fighting hard for a playoff spot, for a playoff berth. The Seahawks, man, they've won 2 of their last 6.
Yeah.
They're coming off a 4-game losing streak, now winning 2 straight and really, pushing for a playoff spot. So that goes to show you, man, how tough and how resilient the Seahawks are, man. Even in Pete Carroll's final years, it seems like, man, moving on from Russell Wilson and going with Geno Smith in his second year, and you see where the Seahawks are at right now, man. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know who's gonna be the starting quarterback. We'll talk about it, but I'm still not feeling great heading into this one, even though we are coming off our best game in a very long time.
Yep.
The most complete game from our Steelers in over 3 years. It's been that long. But how you guys feeling after that, man? You guys feeling a little optimistic? You guys feeling good? You guys riding off our first blowout victory in a long time? How was you guys' Christmas? Hope you guys had a great Christmas holiday. Hope you guys enjoyed the family time and the festivities and enjoyed your holiday all together. Hope you guys had a great, safe, fun family holiday. And as we get ready for another holiday, which is bound to be a lot more fun, and hopefully the Steelers don't ruin this one. So we're kind of hoping we can enter 2024 the way we went out, which is feeling good, feeling coming off of a win.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're anticipating. That's kind of what we're hoping as we.
No, we don't want to end the year on a bad note.
No, we don't.
No.
And it's been a very rough year for our Pittsburgh Steelers.
A very rocky year, very rocky season. You know, as we still try to vie for a playoff spot. You know,
we have a 19% chance.
Yeah,
of
very
making the playoffs.
very slim chance. But
there is a chance.
yeah, if you want to go full Dumb and Dumber and Jim Carrey style, there is a chance somehow, some way. And you want to get right into it?
Yes,
since we're on the topic.
Yeah, because we're obviously going to talk about the Steelers and Seahawks Week 17 game preview, but we got to talk about the playoff scenarios and their playoff chances and what it's going to take for our Steelers to make the playoffs, which we all know. I just want to jump the gun here. We all know what the end result is going to be when we make the playoffs.
Of course.
We know.
Of course.
So in that factor, do I want to make the playoffs? No, I don't. Would it be impressive for Mike Tomlin to make the playoffs after everything he's gone through? I guess, but at the same time, it's just another L on his fucking playoff record. So wherever you look at it, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's bad overall. So, I mean, it doesn't look good in any factor. But
it's still something we got to talk about, and it's something that we do want not only Tomlin, but the whole team to truly fight for.
yes,
You know, we
because-
don't want them to just lie down on the ground and just say, forget the rest of
and
the
just
way.
give up. And just give
No.
up. Well,
No.
So, I mean, regardless, the Steelers are still going to fight for playoff spot. As long as Tomlin is the head coach, think of him how you will, he is always going to vie this team for a playoff spot. He is. That's always been that's always how he's led this football team. And it's calmed down to the bare minimum for the last couple years, but especially this year.
The standard.
Yes, pretty much. But
Yeah.
somehow, some way, we're still in the fucking the playoffs.
The
the playoff hunt, pretty much.
Let's just get right into it.
So first and foremost, in every single one of these scenarios, the Steelers have to win out. That is the most important part. They have to win out.
No exceptions.
They have the Seahawks and they got the Ravens. First, I want to get with the Ravens. If the Ravens win this week versus the Miami Dolphins, they claim the number 1 seed, correct?
I believe that is the case.
I believe that is the case, which could lead to them sitting their starters for Week 18 next week.
So pretty much what you're saying is we're kind of going to have to hope for Baltimore to beat Miami.
Yes.
If we want to have a chance.
Or could John Harbaugh want to play spoiler for us in our season? And quite frankly, I don't know about you guys. I fear playing Tyler Huntley more than I do a Lamar Jackson just based on history.
Yeah.
Regardless, if the Ravens win this Sunday versus the Dolphins, they claim the number 1 seed. They get their first round bye. They don't have to play their starters for Week 18, which could help the Steelers. That's what you would think, right? Granted, we are the Steelers.
Yeah.
But regardless, Steelers have to win out. They have to beat the Seahawks and they have to beat the Ravens. That's most important. If they lose one game, I don't even want to think of what the scenarios are going to have to be next week.
You have to.
It's a lot.
You're gonna have to juggle up the situations. That's for sure.
We have a 19% chance of making the playoffs right now. I would imagine we'd have like a below 5%. Like seriously, if we lose any of our last 2 games, our playoff chances are pretty much done. It's over.
Yeah.
But somehow the Steelers are still in it. But they have to win out. The easiest path for the Steelers to make the playoffs is they have to win out. The Jags have to lose at least 1 game the last 2 weeks. They play the Panthers this week and the Titans next week.
Now, it's interesting with the Jaguar situation because,
They've lost
and the
4
rest of their
straight.
schedule, that and Lawrence, Lawrence is dealing with an injury. I believe it's a concussion.
Yes.
So his absence may hurt the Jaguars for the rest of the way.
Yes,
especially this upcoming week.
They're having an absolute collapse, and most of that has to do with like you said, the injury to the quarterback. But they faced the Panthers, they faced the Titans. They already beat the Titans earlier this season, but the Titans, man, they're kind of having a strong finish to what is a very bumpy season. So they could potentially try to spoil the Jags, or they could try to split with the Jags.
Yeah.
So a Jags losing one more game is very possible. Very possible. Steelers win out, Jags lose one game, and the Colts or the Texans have to lose at least one. And they play week 18. They play each other week 18. So as long as that game doesn't tie, as long as that game isn't a replay of the Chargers and Raiders a couple years ago, we won't have to worry about that. All we need is one of those teams to lose, and they play the last week. So all we have to worry about is the Jags losing one more game, and it's pretty much a win and in sort of situation.
Yeah.
That's the easiest route right there. So Steelers win out, Jags lose one game, and the Colts or Texans lose one, which they play next week.
Yeah.
That's the easiest path. If that doesn't happen, the Steelers have to win out, and the Bills have to lose at least one.
And they play the Patriots and Dolphins the rest of the way.
Yes, they play the Patriots this week and the Dolphins next week.
And the Bills already lost to the Patriots early in the season.
And depending on what the Dolphins and Ravens game, however that comes about, the Dolphins are still fighting for a number one seed.
Yeah.
It could get very interesting. Very, very interesting. If that doesn't happen, Steelers win out, plus the Colts and the Texans both have to lose at least one. So instead of having only one of them lose one game, they would both have to lose one, which means pretty much both teams would have to lose this week.
Yeah.
With us winning out. That is what we'd have to ask for.
Mm-hmm.
Those are our three most realistic and I suppose easiest playoff scenarios as of this week. It's probably going to change a lot for next week, but as long as we win this week, this all is still a possibility. If we lose, then I don't even want to think. I don't even want to know. There's probably going to be a laundry list of how many ifs or ands that are going to have to happen for us to make the playoffs if we lose this week versus Seattle. But that is the Steelers' playoff scenario chances, I suppose, as we look at it from a Week 17 aspect. So I'll go over it again. Steelers went out, plus Jags lose one game, and the Texans or Colts lose one. They played the last week of the season. Steelers went out, or Bills lose one game. Or Steelers went out, plus Colts and Texans lose one. That's our easiest way of getting into the playoffs, if the Steelers do want to vie for a playoff spot. You, as a fan, are entitled to feel how you want about the Steelers making the playoffs. We've already given our opinion, but Steelers are going to continue to vie for it, and they should. They should. I would hate for this team to just give up and just lie down and just not care about not making the playoffs.
Yeah, especially with the momentum that they have at the moment after coming off their best win of the season, their best win in how many years now?
Right.
Honestly, coming off the last home win at Heinz Field, last home game at Heinz Field, really, having to be on the road in the next 2 weeks, last 2 weeks of the season. I mean, they know that, they control their own destiny at this point.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And Sterling in the chat with a 199 says, Mitch has ruined our season 2 years in a row. He's helped end our season 2 years in a row. He has. Mitch is terrible. Mitch is absolutely terrible, man.
Mitch is done.
Mitch is garbage.
Mitch is done.
Mason has confirmed already. If he starts this week and he shits the bed, regardless, Mitch is not going to be the number 2. No. They might cut their losses, take whatever dead cap hit you got to take, make Mason a number 2, and go find a third-string quarterback. Mitch sucks. Mitch is garbage. Christopher Gonzalez. Or Christian Gonzalez.
The Patriot?
No, not the Patriot.
I'm kidding.
No. Christian Gonzalez asked Russell Wilson. The answer is no. No.
Yeah, no.
No.
No, thank you. No, thank you to Russell Wilson. I'm good.
As for Baker Mayfield, says Roll, sign Baker Mayfield this offseason. I'm not going to lie. I would not hate that. I would not, and I never thought I'd say that. But Baker Mayfield is a bridge at this point. Baker Mayfield is a bridge.
I mean, I'll give Baker Mayfield his flowers for this year. I mean, he's playing much better than what I thought he would. He's arguably coming off his best season ever in his career with Tampa Bay.
If they want to sign him as a backup, then sure. But as a starter, no, he's a bridge.
After the season he's had, you know that he's going to want a paycheck and he's going to be looking for some sort of contract.
Yes.
And I don't know if the Steelers are going to want to go out there and throw that type of contract, throw that money to Baker Mayfield.
Why not?
Because of Kenny Pickett.
So hold on. Are you saying we could bring in Baker as competition or as a backup? Because I'm thinking backup.
I'm not saying they go after Baker in general. I don't think so either. I don't think they look towards Baker Mayfield. But because of the season he's had.
Okay, so you're saying they don't look. Why do you think they wouldn't look at Baker? Let's hypothetically think that they go after Baker. Why would you think that they wouldn't?
Because they have Kenny Pickett. The reason I say that was because they're not going to give up on him so quickly. They're not going to give up on him right away.
Signing Baker doesn't mean Kenny's over. Is he better than Kenny? Yes.
I mean...
But signing Baker would not mean that the Steelers are done with Kenny Pickett. I think them signing any quarterback next year doesn't mean that they're going to give up on Kenny Pickett.
No, I agree. They need to bring somebody in for Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett should not run.
No, I agree.
He should not walk into next season as a starter, being gifted the starting position when he needs to earn that right to remain the starter.
No, I agree.
I agree. I just don't think they go out there and try to sign Baker.
I don't think they go out and sign anybody. Because, like you said, Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, that's my issue. That's why I'm trying to get at. Whether it's Baker or Russell or any other quarterback that's going to hit free agency, I don't think they go out there and reach out. Yeah, I think they go out there and get a backup, get someone that's a capable starter, just no one that's really going to push Kenny to the limit. Yep. Because they're not going to want to give up on Kenny Pickett out the gate right away, because he's a first-round pick and they don't want to give up on that.
Right.
How many first-round picks have they had that they didn't want to give up on right away?
So they have too much faith in Kenny Pickett is what you're saying?
Yes.
No, I agree, unfortunately. But could that lead to him starting this week? Now, there are reports that Mike Tomlin named Mason the starting quarterback. That is not true. He didn't exactly name him the starting quarterback. He said they're going to work with him as if he is the starting quarterback. But very much like last week, if Kenny cannot go, Mason's going to get the start.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what he said.
Yeah,
he did not confirm that Mason is the starter.
But he's scheduled to be the starter versus Seattle. They'll just keep an eye on Kenny's progression through practice.
And he's been limited all week. Kenny's been limited all week. Now, the question is, who should start at quarterback? There is a poll in the chat for you guys. The poll is who gets the start. Most of you guys say Mason. Who should get the start? The answer to the previous question. Mason Rudolph. He should get the start. Why? Because why would you cool down the hot hand? Why would you bench Mason for a not very healthy Kenny Pickett? Why would you bench the quarterback that gave you your most complete game in a long time? Why would you bench the
Not just a long time, but all season.
Yeah, you're right. Why would you bench the quarterback that gave you your best offensive performance all season?
Yeah, something that Mitch and Kenny combined
could not do
all season. They couldn't.
And a lot of us were saying it leading up to the Bengals game last week where Kenny and Mitch obviously showed you in numerous examples, numerous games, they can't get the job done. They limit the offense and the way they just see the field, the way they see their targets, their accuracy, and the way that they can't get points on the board. And the fact is they are afraid to throw the football. They are.
It's like they're afraid to lose their position. They're afraid to lose their jobs.
They're afraid to lose. They're afraid to make a mistake, pretty much. Mason, as Cyril Mieto, zero fear.
He's got nothing to lose. He continues to have nothing to lose.
No.
Coming into the Seattle game, he has nothing to lose.
And I personally think Mason deserves an opportunity to show himself if he can be consistent. He's earned that opportunity. the Steelers should give it to him.
And if I were the Steelers, I'd take that chance. I would take that chance on giving Mason that opportunity to show consistency at the quarterback position and to play at quarterback compared to Kenny, who hasn't done shit.
So you're telling me that in the most important period of the NFL season, the most important period of the Steelers season, you're going to bench the best quarterback performance all season, the best offensive performance all season. You're going to bench the quarterback that led that? You're going to bench the quarterback that slung the fucking football deep to all your targets, especially George Pickens.
Yeah.
You're going to bench that and start a 85% healthy Kenny Pickett who could barely do half of what Mason did in terms of points?
Yeah.
Because I know everyone, and I've seen it all over social media, that everyone is comparing Mason's game to Kenny's game versus the Bengals because they pretty much had the similar games versus the same team versus the same defense, right? Versus the same team.
Yeah.
The only difference is Mason could get the points on the fucking board. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not denying Kenny didn't have a good game versus the Bengals.
No, that was his best. That was his best game of his career.
His first game without Matt Canada was his best game of his entire career. He was slinging it. He was more confident. He was actually looking like a decent starting quarterback. He was. But what do we say during that game? We couldn't get the points. Mason, in his first game since 2021 or 2020.
2020.
Yeah, 2021. I keep thinking we're in 2024. That's in a couple days. His first game in 2021, he led this offense to 30 points. Their first 30-point game in a long time. Their first 30-point victory in 3 fucking years. Why would you bench that? Why would you bench that? I don't understand it. It would make zero sense to me.
Yeah.
And again, Mason deserves the opportunity to see if he can be consistent. Now, can he be consistent? I don't know. I would love for him to get the opportunity. And let's say Mason does get the start. Let's say Kenny can't go, Mason gets the start, and that's announced tomorrow, right? Which I'm expecting. Does Mason replicate what he did last week? I don't think so. And the reason being is because now there is film on Mason Rudolph. The Bengals didn't have film on Mason Rudolph because his last game before that was the Lions game in 2021 where we tied.
Yeah.
Now, in Mason Rudolph's first start without Matt Canada at least calling the plays, now NFL teams, now the Seahawks especially, have tape, have film to see, okay, where has Mason grown in the last couple of years sitting on the bench? What plays were the Steelers drawing up for Mason? What was Mason eyeing down the field? What were they scheming with Mason? What were they doing different with Mason as starting quarterback compared to Kenny? What strengths are they going to attack with Mason Rudolph? That's why if Mason starts, I don't think he replicates it. So I'm not saying Mason's going to have a bad game because I don't know that. I don't. In fact, I think it's kind of poetic that this game, if he starts, would kind of come a little full circle because the Seahawks game in 2021 was the first game he ever came in as Steelers quarterback.
Yeah, so 2018 actually.
So it's kind of full circle that with the season on the line for the Steelers, he can get the start with extra years under his belt.
Yeah.
And perhaps the Seahawks, because Pete Carroll's still the head coach, perhaps the Seahawks are going to look at that game and compare his first game to what they saw last week and see where he really grew. Mm-hmm. So now that is where Mason himself is going to have to step up as the quarterback if he is the starter. And obviously, we're all rooting for Mason Rudolph. We should all still be rooting for Mason Rudolph. We all should. Whoever the starting quarterback's going to be this Sunday should be getting all the fan support.
Of course.
With the season on the line, man, that's how I view it. I'm going to be critical of whoever is going to be the starting quarterback, but they're always going to have my full support, my full backing. Even if Kenny is going to be the starter, I won't agree with the decision. But
now, even if he's 100%, even if he's fully healthy, ready to go, I still want to go with Kenny. No. I still will not go with the guy that cannot execute and get points on the board.
No,
when he's had time and time to do it, and he hasn't done it.
No.
Rather than go with a guy that has nothing to lose again. he continues to have nothing to lose.
No.
Take the chance on that. Continue to go with that guy.
Yeah, go with the hot hand, man. And you saw what Pickens could do when he has a quarterback that could sling him the football deep, when you have a quarterback that will get him targets. His best game of his entire career, a career high. Our best Steelers wide receiver performance since obviously AB. You know, it's like last week was a foreign language.
Yeah.
It was like traveling back in time a little bit for us Steelers fans because we're not used to that no more. And again, why would you bench that? Why would you bench the hot hand? Why would you bench the guy that gave you your best offensive performance in a long time all season when the season is the most important? It makes no sense to me. I don't care if Kenny's been the starter all year or if Kenny can lead us to dubs or be safe with the football. I'd rather get the guy in there that can get us points because points get us fucking victories.
Yeah.
Clearly. That's how I see it. Mason was able to get us the points, so he should still be the quarterback.
Yeah.
And he should be giving another opportunity. He should be given another chance to show consistency and continue to show that, hey, he can be the backup next year and we can just kick Mitch to the curb, kick him to the rocks. Really. Mason deserves that. I think he does. Now, would that mean Mitch is going to be the number 2? Unfortunately. Unless they pull something similar to what they did years ago versus the Browns when Landry Jones started and Ben was active, but Ben was listed as the backup.
Yeah.
And then Landry got hurt. Ben came in, threw for 300 yards as the backup, hilariously.
Yeah.
That was the old Cleveland Browns, where we used to laugh at them. Now they're blowing out the Jets.
No, it could also be a similar situation to what Seattle did a couple weeks ago Monday night against Philly. They activated, or they had Geno as active, as a healthy active, but he was the backup to Drew Lock. You know, they wanted to be they had him active, you know, just to have him in there, but they didn't list him as a starter. They didn't throw him in because of the injury he was dealing with.
So perhaps they could do it. Maybe they list Mason as the back. Maybe they start Mason but keep Kenny active. Perhaps.
I think that really all depends on how Kenny practices tomorrow, if he's another limited or if he's a full participant this time around tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be very telling. But
So we're just going to throw that idea out there because that is a possibility. And I'm just running with Mason. I'm running with Mason the rest of the season. Even if we do make the playoffs, I'm still running with Mason. Because he's the only quarterback on this roster that is actually a legitimate quarterback. He's the only guy that can sling it. He's the only guy that can get us down the field. We said this weeks leading up into the fucking Bengals game, and look what happened. He's the only legitimate quarterback. He is. Mitch and Kenny have had plenty of chances, plenty of games.
yeah.
And there was no difference. The only difference was every time Mitch was in there was more turnovers. The most positive we've seen from a quarterback this season was when Mason was inserted last week.
And I think you could tell from a player's perspective too.
Yes.
Everybody on offense, like they were just feeling that vibe.
They needed that.
They were feeling that positive morale on the field and on the sideline when Mason was in there.
They need that sense of new energy.
And I think it was a big part of it is because of how Mason plays the position at quarterback.
Because Mason can feed his players. Mason will get these guys the targets. Mason will get these guys the shots down the field.
Compared to Mitch and Kenny, where they're just limited. They're just like kind of held down because, again, Mitch and Kenny, they're scared to throw it. They're scared to make a mistake.
Dude, they make one read and one read only, and they stick with that decision, or they don't want to sling it because they're afraid to fuck up. Fuck no. That's not how a quarterback's supposed to play the game. I'm sorry. If you're going to play the game that way, then, yeah, you are a backup quarterback legitimately. You should never see the field.
Yeah.
Unless you have to. That's how it is. That's how Mitch is, and I'm starting to think that's how Kenny is. Truthfully. Mason should be the guy the rest of the season, in our honest opinion.
Yeah.
I think a lot of you guys would agree in the chat. Now, why would they want to play Kenny? Let's think about this. Why would they want to play Kenny? Perhaps because they want to see if they can get more out of Kenny Pickett before the end of the season, because Kenny has only had one full game without Matt Canada.
Yeah.
And it was his best game of his career.
And say he's listed as a starter for the Seahawks game, right? And the rest of the way, this is a big test for Kenny Pickett. Last 2 games of the regular season, playoffs are on the line, you're on the road, and this is all eyes are going to be on you when you're completely back at quarterback with the season on the line. Everybody's going to be watching you. All eyes are going to be on you, and this will be a big test for Kenny Pickett. And it's a moment where Pickett should absolutely show up. It's a moment where Kenny Pickett absolutely should show the fuck out, being the first-round pick that the Steelers had envisioned.
Yes.
And I'm sure that's what the Steelers got to be thinking at the same time. Going into next year with what you've seen from Kenny Pickett and the limited time you see from Kenny Pickett without Matt Canada as the OC, that one game against Cincinnati, it's too big of a gamble, too big of a risk going to next year, fully confident that he's your starting quarterback.
Right.
Although I'd argue that, the last 2 games, say he had solid performances against the Seahawks and Ravens, if he's healthy and the starter, right? I think it's still too big of a gamble.
I agree, because I was thinking about this earlier in the day. If they start Kenny, it's probably because they want to see what he can do with more games without Matt Canada, right? Understandably so. But regardless, I don't think 3 full games, if he stays healthy, 3 full games is enough to justify Kenny coming back as the starter without any competition. It's not. So 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, I don't think it's enough to desire for Kenny to come back as the full legitimate starter with no backup plan.
Yeah.
It's not. So in that factor, I'm still starting Mason. I am. I'm starting him. I'm starting his arm. I'm starting what he can bring to this offense, which is a lot of what Kenny and Mitch could not bring.
No.
They couldn't get the job done. You bring in someone that could, and he did more than that. He over-exceeded expectations. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't think Mason is going to replicate that much. I don't, because there's going to be more film on him, and, there's still questions with consistency with this offense, regardless who's at quarterback.
Yeah.
But I think Mason still gives us a better chance at getting down the field and getting points on the board, because he's done that. Pretty much most of the times he's actually been a Steelers starting quarterback. He's had his fair share of bad games, especially in 2019. He's had his fair share, but there have been some instances, especially in Mason's recent games, where he's been able to get us down the field and get some points on the board.
Yeah.
He has. So, you even look at that Lions game. I'm not trying to look back too far, but you look back at that Lions game. We tied, but he got us down the field twice until the players fumbled the ball.
Yeah. Mason did more than enough to get us to the point of victory.
Yes.
And that matchup is just, mistakes happen.
And last week, man, again, best game of his career, overexceeded expectations. We're still sticking with Mason. So, is Kenny going to be dressed? I don't know. They could dress him, make him the backup, only because of his injury, but they want to dress him just to ensure that maybe they can insert him in. And I would play Mason until Mason potentially starts thinking up the joint.
Yeah.
Because that is the kind of rhythm with backup quarterbacks. They come in, they do good, but then they'll have their honeymoon phase. They'll have their ride in the sunshine, right? And then obviously there's going to be a game or so where they're going to show you why they are the backup.
Yeah.
And until that point, then Kenny can come in. But the season's almost over, so, how many more games is that going to happen? So just stick Mason out the rest of the year. Let Kenny rest. Let him be 100% healthy. Whatever surgeries or whatever he needs to do to get fully healthy for next year, let him do that. Let him work on his craft. Let him get fully healthy, and let's just focus on next year. Truthfully. I know the Steelers aren't viewing it that way. Kenny definitely isn't viewing it that way. And I understand why, but I just think that's the best case scenario. Call it a second year and just move on to 2024. What the Steelers want to do at the quarterback position, that's for offseason talk. Right now, we're just focused on the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Taking it 1 game at a time. But we are starting Mason. I think the majority of you guys agree, man. 151 votes in the chat says Mason should get to start 91% by a lopsided decision. So that's just how I feel, man. But that's pretty much it on the quarterback talks of who might be the starting quarterback. We want to get into the injury report real quick regarding our Steelers and then especially the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen their injury report. My God, I'm still scrolling.
Yeah. You thought Santa's naughty nice list was long. Holy shit.
My goodness. So Kenny has been limited the last 2 days with an ankle injury. We'll see what his participation is next or tomorrow, and we should get a full determination who will be the starter tomorrow.
Yeah.
Should be Mason, but we'll see. Trenton Thompson was limited Wednesday and then was a full participant today, which is very good sign with the fact that Minka has been did not participate
The past 2 days.
the past 2 days, which means he's probably not going to play Sunday. which means our starting safeties are going to be Trenton Thompson, who's looking to play. So Trenton Thompson and Patrick Peterson, who has been a stud at safety. I know he's only had one game, but it was definitely his best game all year.
No, he had a stellar performance at safety, and I'm just going to speak it right now when it comes to next season for Pat Pete, because he did sign a 2-year contract to be a Steeler. Next year, I'm switching him full time to safety, and I have him line up across Minkah Fitzpatrick.
I am, but I'm still addressing strong safety. I'm bringing in someone else. In fact, I'm looking at Patrick Peterson next year to be more like the DeMonte Casey role, that versatile piece, someone that can play up high, in the slot, in the box.
If they were to use his versatility like Tomlin's always preached about Pat Pete, then absolutely. I could see that 100%.
You want to put him back outside opposite JPJ and put someone else up top safety, you could do that.
Now,
they could get very creative with Patrick Peterson.
They really could. But if there's a chance that they want to give him that one shot full-time as safety, and Pat Pete already admitted himself that he is more than open to switching to safety full-time.
Yeah.
So if the Steelers want to make that move, they want to make that decision, they want to give him that shot at safety for a full year next year to see how he does, then maybe contract talks could happen after next season. Now I'm talking like way into the future, but, I'm just spitballing
No,
here.
but I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about this myself. I looked at Patrick Peterson's contract. His cap hit next year is over $9 million.
Yeah.
$9 million.
Yeah.
Now, let's say the Steelers would want to cut him. They would save over $7 million and have only like a 2-point whatever cap hit or a dead cap hit. But I don't think they want to do that. I think they want to keep his veteran instincts. They want to keep his knowledge. They want to keep him around. They want to keep him in that secondary, especially with how young we are. You're right. With JPJ, we're getting Corey Trice back. Got Darius Rush in there, we're probably going to keep for next year. I mean, we got so much youth in that field. Keeping Patrick Peterson is going to be essential to their growth. Yeah. And they're going to want to keep him around. But moving him to safety, I agree, is the way to go. But I think they should extend them to a one-year extension, no extra cost. Cut the cap hit in half.
Yeah, split it completely.
Give him a 1-year extension.
Yeah, if they want to do that. Because Pat Pete, he was off to a very shaky and rocky start as a Steeler this season. Mm-hmm. Like, he was terrible. Him and Levi Wallace were, without a doubt, the worst cornerback duo to start the season. They weren't good. But bad. I do got to give Patrick Peterson his flowers. Ever since, I want to say, a little after the Steelers' bye week, he has been playing very good football. Right. And he has been playing much more better. So I got to give Patrick Peterson his flowers there. But if he wants to switch to safety full-time next year, have him work with Minkah, or like you stated, be that versatile piece in the nickel, slot, safety, the box, whatever.
Yeah, because I dropped Casey and just to put Peterson in there.
And to extend Peterson's career at the same time, too. Because legendary cornerbacks switched to safety as they got older and extended their careers, actually made their careers far more better. Yep. So if the Steelers want to exercise that option, same with Pat Pete, I do it in a heartbeat. I'm all for that.
Just look at the Woodsons. Rod, Charles.
Absolutely.
Star Hall of Fame corners that moved to safeties and extended and still were elite guys. I mean, yeah, Peterson can definitely do that. He should do that. He's expressed interest on his podcast with Brian McFadden that he wants to do that. So the Steelers will gladly oblige. So shout out to Patrick Peterson for stepping up this year, man. And I think him at safety this upcoming week, which is going to happen because I don't think Minkah's playing. So that should be something we should all still be excited about. Najee was a do not participate, then was limited today. Atlanta Roberts has been a do not participate all week.
Mike Tomlin has already stated on his Tomlin Tuesday that Roberts will be out.
So you're saying our starting linebackers is going to be Miles Jack.
Number 16.
And who? Jalen Smith, who we just signed to the practice squad? Former Cowboy?
Yeah, the journeyman lately. It's a solid body on the practice squad.
I'm not starting Michael Walker.
No, I wouldn't. Quite honestly, I would give that opportunity to Blake Martinez. You signed him for a reason.
I like that.
You signed him for a reason. Yeah, he's been healthy and active in every game but one since he's been a Steeler, since he came out of retirement. Since you signed him off the Panthers practice squad. Give Blake Martinez that opportunity. It can't be much worse than Michael Walker. I'm not continuing to go with the flat tire of this freaking Steelers defense.
No.
The weak link.
I like that flat tire.
I'm sorry. I'm not doing that. You don't do that. No. You give the opportunity to the next man, the man that you called out of retirement. So when it comes to inside linebacker, yeah, I would go with Miles Jack off the practice squad. I would give Blake Martinez the opportunity. Yeah. And if you want to also elevate Jalen Smith, an extra hand, an extra insurance policy, that's not a bad option either.
So I'd make the starting linebackers Miles Jack, Blake Martinez. I'd elevate Jalen Smith and make Walker and him the rotational guys, along with Mark Robinson.
Yeah.
So they got guys they can pile in there, even though it's so bottom of the barrel, it's so bare right now. They got guys that can fill in there.
Just like safety, we're bare because, we even had to elevate Eric Rowe for safety, who we could also see.
Frank the Great put it in the chat. It went right over my head. He had a pick last week. But, yeah, Eric Rowe's going to see some time at safety again this week.
Of course. The practice squad guys, they came out big last week.
Yeah.
All we can ask is just, do it again. Do something similar this upcoming week.
Right.
Simple as that.
And Sayamalo did not participate yesterday, but was a full today, so he should still be good. He's been on injury report the last couple weeks, but he's been playing every game, so he should be good to go. But most importantly, Kenny's been limited. Trenton Thompson should play. Najee should play. Minka and Roberts will not play. At least that's what it's looking like. Now, the Seahawks. I don't even know where to begin here. Let's just say that DK Metcalf was new
on the injury report,
as did not participate with a back injury. What that means for his status, I don't know. I'm still expecting him to play, but he might be limited tomorrow. But he was new today.
Yeah.
Everyone else, Kenneth Walker has been did not participate all week. So has been Jordan Brooks. So has been Mario Edwards. So has been Draymond Jones.
Yeah.
So has Jason Peters. There's their right tackle. Yes, he's still playing.
He's our backup, I believe.
I thought he was a starter for a little bit.
He was when I think it was Abraham Lucas. He was out for a bit.
Right.
So Peters
Peters
is the rotational 43-year-old backup they got.
43?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my God.
That man don't want to ever stop
My
playing.
man is going. Wow.
That man wants to play till he's
It's unbelievable.
45.
Well, speaking of Lucas, he's been full all week, so he should play.
Yeah.
Leonard Williams should play. Smith and Jingba and Tyler Lockett should be good. Quadre Diggs should be good. Devin Witherspoon, there is talks, there is concern that he might not play this week. He's probably the head guy for Defensive Player of the Year or Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
I feel like him and JPJ should be up there as well. I know there's a lot of other guys. Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, what's his name from the Bucks? Rookie edge rusher from Louisville.
Diaby?
Yeah.
Diaby?
Yeah.
Diaby, whatever.
Yeah, he's having a good rookie year as well. But I think Witherspoon and JPJ should be right up there. I know JPJ won't be because he doesn't have the stats like Witherspoon, but JPJ's been nothing short of lockdown. He's been great. He's had a tremendous rookie year. So, but Witherspoon's been he was limited Wednesday and he was limited today with a hip injury. You guys know where I'm going with this. If he cannot go,
yeah.
Keep in mind, Jordan Brooks did not participate as well.
Oh, we're going to see an old buddy of ours?
No, just two of them. So, Devin Witherspoon has been limited, and Jordan Brooks did not participate all week. If neither of them can go,
we are looking at
two of the worst Steelers first-round draft picks in the Kevin Colbert era. We are looking at the two worst draft busts in Steelers' recent history. We are looking at I can't say it.
Artie Burns
and Devin Bush as the starters on the Seahawks defense.
Potentially. Or at least seeing more playing time at that. Bush, if Brooks can't go, Bush will be the starter. I'm looking at the depth chart.
Pete Carroll's already confirmed that Devin Bush is going to see a lot of time. That makes me excited. Now, granted, the trend all year, the trend in recent years has been that all the former Steelers players are having revenge games or better games against us, right? Steven Nelson, fucking James Conner, Juju Smith-Schuster. Remember John Boxic ended our 11-0 streak?
Mike Hilton. How many times?
He had a pick six on Ben, and what was his last year or something?
Yeah.
I forget. It's like that's the trend. Every former Steelers player has great games against us. I don't know why. But I'm telling you right now, there is no and I hope I don't eat my words, knock on wood, there is no way two of the worst draft busts, first-round draft busts in recent Steelers history are going to do good against us. Not when Artie Burns is going to have to cover George fucking Pickens. Not when Devin Bush is going to have to stop Jalen Warren. I'm getting excited thinking about it.
Yeah.
Start Mason Rudolph for the love of Jesus Christ. Please. please. If those two guys are the starters, bro, I don't care if Kenny is confirmed to start tomorrow and then all of a sudden you hear that Devin Bush and Artie Burns are starting. I'm changing my mind. I'm like, yeah, Mason, you're starting.
Yeah.
You're starting. Yeah, we could be seeing Artie Burns and Devin Bush. In fact, we will. They might not be the starters. Devin Bush is probably going to be a starter.
I know Burns has been more of the nickel role in there. He's been getting some playing time there.
Interesting.
That's what I heard. Because I'm seeing on the depth chart, he's number 3. He's number 3 behind Witherspoon. Number 2 is Michael Jackson.
No, not that Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, the cornerback.
Where's Kobe?
He's 4th string.
What happened to him?
Kobe Bryant took a shit on his career.
Good. Wow, bro, that's a show. When you get wow, bro, when you're below the depth chart by Artie Burns, bro.
I don't think there's ever coming back, bro.
Wow, bro. Anyway. So yeah, we could be looking at a little more Devin Bush and Artie Burns this Sunday. So that's gonna be a little interesting for us.
And you know what? I look forward to it. I really look forward to it.
I look very forward to it. I'm kind of excited thinking about it, but I don't want to get too excited because that's just the type of shit where the Steelers are gonna piss me off. It's happened before.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, their starting running back did not participate all week. Two of their guys in the front 7. 3 guys, actually. 2 of them on the defensive line and 1 of them as the linebacker do not participate all week. So they're going to be missing some key guys when the season's on the line for the Seahawks. In fact, this is probably the game where whoever loses doesn't make the playoffs. That's the vibe I'm getting from this game. Because it's going to be very impossible for either team to make the playoffs if they get a loss this week. They're going to have to ask a lot for next week if either of them lose. So if Kenneth Walker can't start their 2nd or 3rd round rookie, their backup running back.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his last name.
Zach Charbonnet will get the start.
Yeah, that's him, yeah.
He stepped in. He's been decent. Kenneth Walker is a touchdown magnet. So with him being out, that might help us.
Yeah.
We can slow down the run. We can definitely try to limit the Seahawks rushing attack, which they don't really have much this year. They don't. They really don't. That would mean we would have to force the game into Geno's hands.
Yeah.
Now, Geno is no slouch. He's not.
No, and he showed that last year.
Geno is having a redemption career, and it's fun to watch. As an NFL fan, man, that's the shit you want to see. But Geno, man, he's going to have to go up against a defense that's coming off their best performance all year, 3 interceptions. And then we're trying to get some more this upcoming Sunday, of course.
Yeah.
But that still leads to concern with the defense, which is consistency issues. Their linebackers are still bare, and our secondary can still be very wishy-washy, especially when we have to rely on Levi fucking Wallace with Patrick Pearson playing safety. God, you can bank Tyler Lockett to score a touchdown. I swear to God. I swear to God. Don't put him on DK. I swear to Christ. JPJ better be following that guy like he did DeAndre on Thursday night weeks ago.
Bro, DK could just shove Wallace with one arm.
Doesn't have to. All you gotta do
is a size mismatch, dude.
Dude, a hard cut on his release and Levi's on the ground. Like
his legs are gone. His ankles are taken.
But what I've noticed about the Seahawks, man, is DK is pretty much at 1,000. Tyler Lockett is over 800. Their rookie Smith-Njigba has over 600.
Yeah.
That's impressive. They have a very good wide receiver core. Them drafting Smith-Njigba was kind of surprising because, I mean, they didn't really need a receiver. I can see why they would want to give Geno more targets. It's not a bad thing. I feel like a 3rd target in the NFL is incredibly underrated. So I see why the Seahawks did it.
No, it gives Geno another target, and definitely for Seattle's offense to be a little more unpredictable, because with those type of 3 targets you got in DK, Lockett, and Jackson Smith-Njigba, I mean, that's a lot of guys for Geno to spread the ball out to.
And they're going pass heavy, obviously. And Kenneth Walker's a versatile piece himself. So
yeah.
You see where the Seahawks are going with their offense. But they do have a very productive offense. I wouldn't say it's very consistent, but they have a very productive offense that we should not underestimate whatsoever. They should not. I feel like this is where the Seahawks are going to want to perform their best. They're coming off 2 wins after a 4-game losing streak.
And I'm looking at the NFC playoff standings at the moment. They are currently the 7th seed.
Ooh.
So they are in the playoffs at the moment.
They got the Vikings and the Falcons trailing them.
Yeah, and they're going to want to keep a hold of that.
As well as the Packers. Packers play on Sunday night.
Yes. And the Saints, too. The Saints are up there as well. Yeah. So, Yeah, Seattle's in the playoffs as a 7th seed, and they're not going to want to lose that position.
No, they're not
whatsoever.
And we got to give a lot of credit to Pete Carroll. Trading Russell Wilson and going with Geno didn't look to be the smartest move, but obviously it's done the Seahawks great favors.
The biggest winners of that one.
Yes, and yeah, absolutely, especially with the recent news.
Yeah,
but
nice job, Denver.
Yeah, I know. Traded everything.
Let's ride.
Paid him everything, and
sorry, Vicky. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But yeah, the Pete Carroll, man, I feel like these last couple years has shown that Pete Carroll is still one of the best coaches in the NFL, and
he still got it.
He's a Hall of Fame guy.
He still got it.
He's a Hall of Fame guy. Like he's such a great coach. He's always going to lead the Seahawks to decent success. He's always going to keep them very competitive and within a playoff scenario. So you got to give credit to Pete Carroll. And he's built that defense very nicely.
Oh, it's got a lot of, especially young talent at that.
In the secondary.
Yeah, especially that secondary. I mean, look at the cornerback deal. They got Devin Witherspoon with the trade because of Denver. And they got Reek Woolen back in the 5th round last draft. That was a steal.
Big steal.
Like they got 2 young, arguably lockdown cornerbacks right now.
Oh, another guy
for the future.
And another guy I forgot to mention, Jamal Adams has been limited all week.
Yes.
So Jamal Adams might be returning for this game at safety. Now, if they don't, they would rely on Quadre Diggs and Julian Love. Julian Love has been a very good fill-in for them.
No, he's coming off his best year of his career.
Yeah.
You know, he's having a stellar year being the fill-in for Jamal.
Yeah.
Because Jamal is the starter after the deal they gave him, what was it, last year, this past offseason, whatever. You know, Julian's done very serviceable. He's done very good. Quadre Diggs is a very underrated safety in the NFL. So their secondary, I mean, it's got a lot of credible names, and they got a lot of guys that can get the job done.
Yes, as well as their pass rush. They have 45 sacks on the year.
Yeah.
Their lead guy is Boye Mafe.
Yeah.
From Minnesota, out of Minnesota. He's having a very, very good season. He's
very quiet.
He's got to go up against Dan Moore, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he might get double digits in this game.
Yeah.
Jaron Reed, who's also been on the injury report, he should play in this one. He has 7 sacks. I mean...
Yeah, Seattle also added Leonard Williams from the Giants before the trade deadline. He's been a hell of an asset for them.
And what I've noticed about their defense is you look at their linebackers, you look at their corners, you see how stacked that core is. They like to run a lot of inside blitzes.
Yeah, they do.
They love to blitz a lot. That's why Witherspoon has 3 sacks. That's why each of their linebackers have almost 5 sacks on the year. They blitz heavy, which also concerns me because our pass pro is still concerning, very concerning.
Mm-hmm.
And Mason, under pressure, still cracks. In fact, all our quarterbacks do.
Yeah.
They all panic under pressure.
Yeah, that's always going to be the issue at quarterback with whoever, is in there.
And that's another reason I don't think Mason might replicate his performance from last week is because, there's film on him, but now the Seahawks, they're going to really attack our weak offensive line with their blitz packages. If Witherspoon's going to play, you can anticipate blitzes from him. You can anticipate a lot of inside blitzes. You might see one from Devin Bush with his speed.
And quite honestly, I mean, I got to give Seattle, if that's what they do with Devin Bush, that's the correct way to use Devin Bush.
Dude, they're not going to allow Mason to sit, or whoever the quarterback is. I'm just going to use Mason as a reference, and he should be the guy. They're not going to allow Mason to sit in that pocket comfortably and throw deep. They know that's his best asset. They know that's where he thrives. They're going to try to limit that pocket as much as possible.
Yeah.
So anticipate a lot of blitz packages to try to force some turnovers or try to limit Mason Rudolph's ability to get the ball down the field.
That's something to definitely keep an eye out. Pete Carroll, when he sees...
That frightens me.
When he sees a weakness for any team, he's going to attack that.
That really frightens me. I'm not going to lie.
He's made a resume doing that. That's why he's one of the best coaches of all time.
Yep.
That's something to keep an eye out, and I'm right there with you. That does worry me, too. The firepower they got on that defense, that front seven, and even the secondary, and, the versatility that they got on that defense, too, and what they can do. Yeah, it kind of worries me going up against the Seattle D.
But they're not invincible.
No, they're
in
not.
Fact, in their 4-game losing streak, it really hurt them. I think 3 of their 4 losses in that 4-game losing streak, they allowed 27 or more
They allowed
points.
a lot of points.
So
they did.
They can be they're not immune to allowing points on the board. So we can definitely attack those weaknesses as well, especially if Mason is the quarterback, which again, I'm gonna say it, he should be. He should be.
He's a guy that can get you the most points.
He gives us the guy.
He's a guy that gives us the best chance of winning in general.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
It's as simple as that, man. So with that being said, I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup. It's going to be a very interesting matchup between two playoff teams that are fighting, thriving for a playoff spot. We're hoping the Steelers make the right decision by starting Mason, and it'll give us the better chance of winning this football game and attacking Seattle's defensive weaknesses, especially with Witherspoon limited and Jordan Brooks probably out for this game. We got to attack their depth. We got to attack the secondary. We got to get the ball down the field. But we also want to be able to use the rushing attack. That's going to help out Mason. Let's get more Jaylen Warren.
Yes.
Najee has been on the injury report the last couple of weeks. Najee's been good. Najee's been productive, but we need to see more Jaylen Warren. Let's get Jaylen Warren the ball more. Let's get him involved. He just needs a lot more touches in the ground, in the air. Let's just keep feeding Jaylen Warren. Feed the guys that produce for your offense.
Especially if Najee has this lingering, knee injury? Is it something like that? Knee injury?
Knee injury.
If he's dealing with a lingering knee injury, then go with the credible backup that you got. Go with the credible running back that, quite honestly, has been outperforming Najee.
Yes.
Just give Warren the ball more. Limit Najee if he's dealing with this lingering injury so that it doesn't worsen.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt your chance at Najee suffering a more serious injury.
And at his position, come on.
With already the mileage he's got in his young career.
Right.
Back from his Alabama days and how much he took to load over there, and already what he's been dealing with in Pittsburgh.
Oh, he has a lot of thread on those tires, bro.
A lot. So it's like
there's a lot of mileage.
He's dealing with this and just what we talked about. Go with Warren. Continue to give Warren the ball.
Yeah.
He's just more productive.
Well, just continue to get the ball to the guys that produce for your offense, which is Warren and Pickens.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Seattle, seeing what Pickens did last week, they're going to want to try to double team and limit him up top for sure. That's where a guy like Deontay or a guy like Muth or a guy like Calvin Austin is going to have to become involved and step up in that factor.
Yeah.
Deontay can. Deontay had a couple shots last week where he could have gotten the ball. He could have gotten down the field. He could have gotten more yardage and potentially even a score.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to want to work on that and help him produce for this team. Same thing with Muth. I don't think Muth got one target.
No. I know he didn't get a catch. I don't know about a target.
But that's a crime.
That also could have played a part in because of what he did against Cincinnati, the first matchup. Cincinnati won the limit that, hence, though, it opened the gate for George Pickens to do what he needed to do.
Yeah, they closed that middle, so that's where Pickens took advantage up top.
Yeah.
So perhaps, again, with the linebacker injuries to the Seahawks, perhaps we can use Muth up the middle, up the seam, and get him the ball, because that's where I think Muth could really step up in this game.
Yeah.
He could be that game changer, that X factor for the offense. That's what I'm hoping with Muth. I think we all know his potential, and I think this is one of the games where we're going to have to get him involved more. So get Warren, get Pickens, get Muth a little more involved. Just get us down the field. Get the ball to the guys that will produce most for you, along with Deontay. But I want to see those three guys continue to get the ball.
Yeah, but just spread the ball out, be very safe with the football again, be very protective of it, and just continue to execute and get points on the board.
Yeah. As for the defense, man, we just, pass rush. Pass rush. We got to get to Geno. Their offensive line is very hit or miss. They've been through injuries. They're still going through injuries. In fact, I feel like their offensive line has been a little disappointing, especially their tackles.
Yeah.
So I would hope that Highsmith and Watt can kind of continue to feed on what they did last week, coming off very good performances from those two individually.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they can continue to step up. Obviously, we're going to need the interior guys, Benton, Hayward, to eat, clog up the run game, and just get pressure on Geno. I feel like when Geno's under pressure, he's a good quarterback. He's shown you he can be a decent starter. But under pressure, that's where he starts to kind of crack. That's where the mistakes start to happen.
Yeah.
And that's where this defense can definitely take advantage. And we saw last week the offense with Mason can capitalize off those turnovers. So we're going to need – I'm not going to say an exact copy because that's not going to happen. Let's be honest. That's not going to. I would love an exact copy from last week, but that's not going to happen. The Seahawks are a much better team than the Bengals right now.
Yeah.
They're a much more functioned and healthier team, I would say. But we're going to need the defense. We're going to need the entire team to go in with the momentum they have right now and just continue to step it up. That's all I'm asking for.
Yep.
It's very possible we can come out with a dub. I'm not very confident. I'm not going to lie to you, but I know we can definitely pull off a win because the Seahawks aren't invincible. They are very beatable. Very beatable. We give Seattle all this praise, but they are a beatable team. But I'm really hoping we can come out with a dub. I'm really hoping we can come out with a dub and just continue off our playoff hopes, I suppose. Now, again, I already know what the end result's going to be, but that doesn't mean this team should just fall flat on its face. They should come in. They should understand the importance. This is where this team is going to have to step up the most. You lose, the game's over. You lose, the season's over. At this point, any loss right now, the season's over.
So go out there.
So right now, this is the biggest game of the season.
And go out there and show us how much you really want this.
We said that last week with the Bengals. It was the biggest game of the season. You lose, your chances are worse. Same thing for this one. But I feel like, we have a lot that's not on our side with this one because it's the Seahawks. It's in the West Coast. That we don't typically do well in that area, Tomlin especially.
No, like you said, at the start of the stream, we haven't won in Seattle since 1983.
We just don't have as much on our side than we did last week.
No, we don't.
We don't. So that's where this team is going to have to step up as a whole. But I don't know, man. I'm hoping they don't come off of what they did last week and think that's good enough, and they just want to do as little as possible.
Kind of like the first Cincy matchup.
Yes.
They won that game. They were feeling good, but then they were just like, we did good last week. We don't have to do it again.
They got 3 straight losses.
Yeah, no. You got to go out there and ride with this momentum and do it again.
Yes.
Go out there and do it again.
This is where Tomlin especially is going to have to step up and rally his team to a possible playoff berth. We've given Tomlin a lot of criticism, rightfully so. And no, this is not going nowhere.
No, it's not.
Last week didn't change a fucking thing. It apparently did for a lot of people.
No.
Because we're seeing a lot of comments saying we're fake fans. We need to take this down. How dare we disrespect Tomlin or whatever the fuck they were saying. One game doesn't change everything. One game doesn't change the fact he hasn't and will not win this team a playoff win for a long time. Until proven otherwise.
Until proven otherwise, Tomlin will not lead his team to another Super Bowl championship.
No, he's not going to lead his team to even a deep playoff run. Until then, the sun's not going nowhere.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, bro, that will not be this year. I'm telling you right now. Even with the state of this team and the hope that some people will have. I want them to bounce off last week and make a nice playoff berth. But, in fact, that might give Kenny some playoff experience if you want anything out of that. Maybe. I wouldn't start him in the playoffs.
But no.
Still.
But don't let all this
Success.
This
one great win. One flawless victory.
And Steelers, don't let everybody, praising you and the game that you had last week, don't let that all get to your head.
No.
Do not. Stay focused. And do what you need to do. Show us how much you want this.
Exactly.
Go out there and get the job done.
That's all we asked for
on the road
this game.
For the rest of the season.
It's the most important.
And it starts right now in Seattle.
It's the most important game of the season. Every game for the rest of the season is, but none more important than this. Because if you lose, your chances are a lot less than what they are right now. And it's not very high. There's some scenarios that sound great, but the fact of the matter is, bro, you still got to win. You don't win, you don't make the playoffs. That might be a blessing for us fans, but fuck, man. Come on. Seriously.
There's a lot of leaning on other teams again.
Yeah, I hate doing that.
Like, instead of leaning on other teams, how about you do your part
You do realize,
and do your job as a football team?
You do realize that if we didn't lose to 2-10 teams, right? We
If we beat Arizona and the Patriots, we wouldn't be in the situation.
We'd have 10 wins right now. We wouldn't have clinched it, but we could clinch it with this win. If we didn't lose to those two teams.
We probably wouldn't be looking at the Browns in second place. Right? We would at least be second place, right?
Yeah.
No, the Browns they're still torturing the fucking Jets.
I need a Njoku touchdown to win $125.
You're not getting
I'm not
it.
getting it.
You're not getting
Fucking
it.
hell. Fuck Joe Flacco. Going to the game on Sunday, repping the 4-1-2 and the 7-2-4 in Seattle. Says fourth down back. That's good to hear, man.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Well, I've heard that the 12s are crazy, and you enjoy the game. And you enjoy the game. You have a good time, and hopefully your team comes out with a victory, man. So it should be Should be interesting. Should be a fun atmosphere for sure. Seattle is always a great atmosphere. In fact, I think the last time the Steelers played in Seattle was 2015, and who can remember the game where Marcus Wheaton went for over 200 yards on the Legion of Boom defense. He is the only player to go for over 200 receiving yards on that defense. He has the most receiving yards out of any player against that defense in history.
Marcus Wheaton. Yeah.
And we still lost that game.
Yeah, thanks, Antoine Blake.
Antoine Blake and Mike Mitchell.
Yeah, they just let Doug Baldwin just completely run right past him.
Bro. Baldwin had what, 3 touchdowns? 3 touchdowns?
Oh, my God. Baldwin torched our secondary.
Speaking of historic Steelers Seahawks games, man, who can forget Super Bowl 40?
Of course, that was our 5th Super Bowl victory.
5th Super Bowl victory. Bettis went out in his hometown. Who could all forget that? I think the 2 games after that, after the Super Bowl 40, we blew and shut the Seahawks out until that 2015 game.
Yeah,
I believe.
You might be right.
And then we played in 2019 where Ben went down and Mason came in, which, again, it's kind of like a full circle moment for Mason. His first game ever, and now season on the line, he could lead the Steelers to a potential playoff berth. I mean, I feel like that's a fun little story if you want to count for that. And, of course, what was it, 2021? Sunday night, T.J. Watt saved the day.
Yeah, an overtime match. And Geno did start that game because Russ wasn't active.
Yeah, so there's a lot of history between these 2 teams, man.
Yeah.
The series is, I believe the series is even, 10-10.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But again, man, the Seahawks have more of the advantage because we haven't won there since the 80s, bro. Since the 80s. So.
And as a matter of fact, I am curious on
I don't see a lot being on our side this week, even though we are coming off our best game. The Seattle thing, the West Coast thing, and the Steelers have never, ever been consistent, at least in recent memory.
No, they never
Mike
can
Tomlin
be.
and the Steelers have never been consistent after a good victory. Until proven otherwise. Hopefully it's this week.
See, I'm looking right here. Just to throw this stat out there, when it comes to Seattle at home, in their house, they're 5-2 this season.
Okay.
So, just another stat out there because, why the hell not?
Yeah.
I mean, when you go in Seattle, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough environment. It's a hard environment to play in.
The 12s are crazy, bro. The 12s are crazy. How many years has been now since the Super Bowl appearance? Since 2000 and since what, the
2010 season. Yeah, so
when Troy won Defensive Player of the Year.
13 years.
13 years.
Going on 14.
15 since we won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah, we're never winning another Super Bowl under Mike Tomlin. And if you guys want to try to refute that, I'd love you to try. Because when was our last playoff win? Oh, that was 7 years ago. That's right. Yeah, going on.
Well, in every playoff game, what has happened?
And this is our longest playoff win drought since before Franco did everything that started this.
Yeah.
But we should put this down. Yeah, go fuck yourself.
What's another excuse? Players like to play for Tomlin.
Who gives a fuck?
Here's a true.
I don't think that's true anymore.
Here's a true and honest question. What exactly are they playing with Tomlin for? What's the purpose? What's the reason to play for Tomlin?
Because he's a buddy. That's why. Because they let him do what the fuck they want to do. Anyway, why we're going off that tandem, I don't know. All right, let's see. Let's see how the chat's feeling before we get on out of here. Damn, holy shit, it's already 11 o'clock? My goodness.
Yeah, time goes by, bro. Time goes by when you're having fun.
4th Down Back says, hell yeah, brothers. Hopefully I don't get my walk in your trap, take over your trap sign ripped up. Because the atmosphere is going to be crazy with Seahawks playoffs on the line. So, yeah, man, them 12s are nuts. And I say that very respectfully. So, it's the atmosphere is going to be insane. I feel like if there's ever going to be like a road game I go to, Seattle's got to be one of them. I know it's on the absolute opposite side of the country for me, but
Seattle is definitely on my bucket list of locations to visit. I feel like Seattle would be, a great like trip to go to.
Yeah, and for a game, I think that'd be entertaining. But that's years in
Oh yeah, of course.
Frank the Goat says Cameron Hayward hasn't done anything. Seriously, no, he hasn't. He was out with injury earlier this year, and coming back in, his presence, I suppose, is known by offenses, but he hasn't done much.
No.
A lot of people don't want to admit it, but I think Cam Hayward's starting to get washed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, listen, I say it all the time. You know, Father Time catches up to everybody slowly but surely. And because of his age, you know, he's been more so injury prone than ever so before.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of people say that about Minka too. But Minka's 27, and he's just plagued with a injury year. He's never been injury prone. He's just having a very rough injury year.
And I think that some of that does play a part with what he's got to do.
Yeah, he's being utilized incorrectly.
It's because of the situation that we're dealt with at inside linebacker.
Well,
because of the injuries
before that.
Yeah, even before that, you're absolutely right. It's because they simply, for some reason, don't want to keep Minka up at deep safety. And I don't get it.
I don't know why.
I don't get it.
Especially if you have Levi Wallace there. I know Minka's not playing this week, but come on, bro. You know you can't trust the guy.
Whatever the Steelers ask Minka to do, you know he can get it done. You know he's going to get the job done. Whatever you ask Minka to do, he's got you. That's how great Minka is.
Oh, Minka is a very productive football player in any way.
So whatever he does, yes, he can do it.
Yep.
But the Steelers just don't put him in the right circumstance or the right position.
It's
they need
it's
to.
very 2021.
And it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
It's shameful actually, you know, because we know what he can. We know what he can do. I don't know if Minka's ever going to play again this year, but I would consider maybe sitting him the rest of the season as well, just so he can be fully healthy next year. This is definitely his worst year as a Steeler, but it's been injury plagued, and he's been using the box too often.
Yeah.
Way too often. I think he's used more in the box this year than last year. And last year he was making plays.
Yeah.
We're getting the postseason, fellas, says Mr. Steeler fan. He also says establish the ground game and stop their ground game. I agree. That's what we got to do. We got to get Warren going, man. Mostly Warren. This team really never shook off losing to Tebow. Ooh. I was trying to forget that.
Damn.
I was trying to forget that. Thoughts on Connor Hayward? He's great. He's a great special teamer. I like to see him more at fullback. I want to see him use more in the slot because he has great hands. In fact, speaking of a slot, I want to see Pat Frymuth in the slot more.
Yeah.
Like, I know we don't have a distinctive slot weapon. You could say Calvin Austin. I don't think Calvin Austin I don't think he's a number 3. Granted, we haven't gotten full evidence of that because the Steelers aren't using them properly. You can just
we hardly see him.
No.
How
do you not use that speed? He's fully healthy, and you don't use his speed. What the fuck is wrong with you? It makes no sense. But
Yeah.
I don't think he's a number 3. He's a valuable number 4 who can be used in slot options or in empty formations. We can use him a lot as the 4th receiver. I would entertain the idea of moving because Muth is coming into his last year next year. Same thing with Najee.
Yeah.
I would put Muth in the slot and make Darnell the starting tight end as a blocker, as an occasional receiver, but mainly as a blocker. Put Muth in the slot, make Calvin Austin number 4, and start using Muth in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
That's what I would
No,
do.
I definitely agree. You know,
Use him
it gets both tight ends involved. You have Darnell be that reasonable blocking tight end other than freaking Pat Muth. You know, and you use Muth to the best of his ability. You use his versatility and his ability as a receiving tight end in the slot. And that seems to be the go-to with a lot of tight ends nowadays and what offenses are doing getting tight ends involved in the slot more.
Look what Evan Ingram's doing. Look what they're doing with Laporta in Detroit. They do that with Kelsey in Kansas City.
TJ Hawkinson before he got hurt.
These tight ends are so athletic nowadays, you can put them in the slot.
Yeah. And Muth is very athletic for his size. Mm-hmm. He's very athletic.
I agree. I would entertain the idea of I think he could be the answer to our slot issues.
Yeah. It's an option.
I'd entertain it. That's something they could definitely or explore in training camp. Mr. Steeler fan says, we have a deep game now. Mason can actually throw a deep ball unlike the other two. Opposing defenses haven't really had to worry about this from us until last week. Should be interesting. Agreed.
Correct.
The Seahawks haven't had film on not only Mason, but us attacking the deep ball.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how we can adjust to the Seahawks game planning against that. That's where I want to see Mason get the opportunity to be given an opportunity to show consistency, but I want to see like where he's fully grown with a great game under his belt and what he can do with now knowing that the defenses are expecting certain things. Consistency, aggression is key to victory, says Sandwave. Agreed. We got to stay aggressive. The only way we can is with Mason. He's the only aggressive quarterback on the roster. That's why we asked for Mason. That's why all of us asked for Mason. Pickens' threat forces the defense to adjust. The underneath and intermediate pass game should be there for Mason this week. George Pickens looks like he can't be covered on certain deep routes. He has explosive speed. And he can create separation. Not just by his speed, but, I mean, he's scrappy. He's a hell of a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Last week showed his true potential when he has a quarterback that can give him the ball and when he's actually used up the field. Do it again. Do it again. Yeah. Otherwise, if they're expecting it, they're probably going to double team it. Then you got guys underneath you can hit and get up the field.
Yeah, the route tree for Pickens was much more appealing to the eyes compared to the Patriots game.
Yeah.
That's what I love to see.
I love it.
And that's what we need to see more from
much better
Pickens.
than the fucking Patriots game.
That's why, yeah.
That pissed me off.
Dude, that was disgusting.
Ridiculous.
That was hard to see.
No, but last week was an absolute definite upgrade. But no, I agree. I think they're gonna eye Pickens a little more, and that's where we can definitely try to kind of kill the clock with easy first downs and just getting down the field and being very methodical, especially if we can get Warren involved. We don't have to be incredibly explosive. We can go down the field. We can kill the clock. We can tire out the defense. We can keep our defense rested. We can do that. I think Mason can do that.
Yeah.
I think that might be – I'm hoping that's kind of the goal with the Steelers is, like throw the ball deep. Let's get aggressive. Let's get dangerous. Let's feel dangerous, right? But let's be a little smart this time around. Let's just, let's get a little comfortable. Let's get a nice rhythm going. Let's get down the field.
Yeah, and that's what – on some drives last week against Cincy, that's what, with Mason in at quarterback, him leading those drives, that's what he kind of did from time to time.
Right.
He had his occasional deep pass, which, of course, Mason's always going to do. But, he showcased that he's capable of driving this offense to a reasonable and safe drive to have it end in a touchdown and take time off the board, off the clock, and get points on the board.
Or perhaps now that the Seahawks might be fearing the deep game, it might open the run game. Think of that.
And I think it absolutely should. Because I know the Seahawks' run defense hasn't exactly been too stellar.
No, especially if they're going to have
Devin Bush.
I'm sorry. I can't say it with a straight face. I'm sorry. They might have Devin Bush start, bro. I mean, that should entice us to really feed Warren. Nothing would please me more than to see Jalen Warren stiff arm or run over Bush or Burns.
I just got to say it. I'm sorry. Devin Bush was terrible.
Devin Bush sucks.
He was terrible.
He sucks.
Dude, the amount of plays I seen of him with his run defense were just dog shit.
I swear to God, dude, if Jalen Warren runs over Devin Bush, I will lose my ever-living shit.
Live on stream, guys.
I will lose my shit.
I'll make that into a short if that happens. I will.
I am begging the Steelers to give Warren the fucking ball. I love Najee, but you got to feed Warren. You have to.
I don't mind seeing a hurdle over Bush from Najee, but like I stated,
be smart about
because be smart about it in the lingering knee injury with Najee.
Yeah.
Just give Warren the ball more.
Exactly.
So
it's going to be a fun game, though. It's going to be a very interesting game with two teams that are fighting for a playoff spot. It's going to be one of those games you just have to watch. Think of these teams how you will. Their seasons are going in a roller coaster of emotions for sure. But here they are now, both 8-7 and both all with their season on the line. They lose. Any team loses, you might as well wrap it up. You might as well close the season over because their chances for Week 18 are very, slim.
Big time.
And I don't even want to think of the playoff scenarios. I'm just worried about getting this win and focusing on the Jags to lose, and that's it. That's it. In fact, if everything pans out, if we win, the Jags lose this week versus the Panthers, literally next week versus the Ravens is a win and end deal because the Colts and Texans are not tying. This is not going to be a Chargers and Raiders situation all over again. They win this game. The Jags lose this week. It's a win and end situation next week versus the Ravens. That's all you need. That is the best case scenario. Otherwise, let's win, then hope the Titans can upset the Jags. Otherwise, we're going to need the Bills to lose one game, or we're going to need the Colts and Texans to lose this week.
Yeah.
In fact, let me get my thinking going. So, yeah. Steelers win this week. Jags lose this week. All we got to do is win next week, and we're in. And hope that the Colts and Texans don't tie.
Pretty much.
Right? If the Bills lose this week versus the Patriots, all we got to worry about is winning. If the Bills lose versus the Dolphins, we still got to win next week versus the Ravens. Or if the Colts and Texans lose this week individually, they both lose this week, all we got to do is win. So in most cases, dude, all you got to do is win. You got to ask for a little favor, but win and you're in is basically what I'm getting.
Yeah, simple as that.
All you got to do is win out. I'm not going to lie to you. Me as a fan, I don't expect it.
It's a lot easier said than done, and the Steelers don't.
Yeah.
They don't get it done the easiest way.
No.
They do it the hard way.
They always do it the hard way. And yes, thank you guys for complimenting me on the Hines Ward jersey. Shout out to Rob. He got it for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
I got him the championship belt in the background. He got me a wearable Hines Ward because I have a signed Hines Ward. I do not have one to wear. Now I do, thus I'm sporting it towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
In fact, I see.
Yeah, Hines Ward, man, Super Bowl 40 MVP against the Seahawks.
Hey, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you like that?
And still not a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame
What
yet.
the fuck?
Yet.
Him or Debo?
Not a finalist yet. Andre Johnson made it. Reggie Wayne made it. Who else made it? Jared Allen made it. Torrey Holt made it. Devin Hester made it. You know, guys like that.
Listen, they all deserved. All deserved. They're all great players. And I know it's going to take a while for Hines to get in because I don't think he was on the level of a Reggie or an Andre or a Torrey. But fuck, Hines Ward was such a great wide receiver. He will one day be a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
When you look at,
I secretly hope he goes in the same year Ben goes in, which will be 2027, I think. No, 2027, 2028, one of those years.
Yeah.
I'm secretly hoping he goes in the same year as Ben.
Yeah.
And it's like it's almost like what year was it where there was two Steelers that went into the Hall of Fame? It was Troy and someone else.
Wasn't it Faneca? It was Faneca, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be something like
Donnie
that.
Shell, too.
Donnie Shell as
You know,
well,
it was a hell of a Steelers weekend in Canton, Ohio.
So that's what I'm secretly hoping for. I know Hines isn't going to get in immediately. I just biasly think it's bullshit.
I mean, let me say this.
Same thing with Debo.
When you look at, absolutely, but
although Debo, we would love to know where his stats would be if he got that opportunity sooner. Watt would still be chasing.
Yeah, really. But when you look at 2000's NFL highlights, and images, one of the names that comes off the top of your head first thing is definitely Hines Ward. Players from the 2000s. Hines Ward comes right off the top of your head.
Yes,
no doubt about it.
Yes, he does.
With his blocking, his hits, his catches, his plays, his freaking smile, right? You know?
Yeah, who can forget that smile?
He's one of the most prolific images of 2000s NFL.
Yes, 100%. 100%. He will make it in. But there is some news on Hines Ward. I'm glad you brought it up. He is apparently out as the XFL coach for the San Antonio Brahmas, I believe is the name. He will no longer be the head coach for the XFL team. You know where I'm going with this.
Yes, I do. And
You
he's
know
had
exactly where I'm going with
he's
this.
had prior stints as a coach, a wide receivers coach, or even an assistant in general, coach, with the New York Jets. He was an offensive assistant for the Jets from 2019 to 2020, but he was a wide receivers coach back at Florida Atlantic. So he has a prior stint as a wide receivers coach. And our current wide receivers coach, Friesman Jackson, I mean, I don't think anything's meshing positively with him as wide receiver
Remember
coach.
what we said, where the entire offensive coaching staff needs shut down,
And it still does.
Needs cleansed.
It still does.
The only position coach I would keep from the offensive side is Alfredo Roberts, our tight end coach. He's been great. That's the only guy I'd keep from our offensive coaching staff. Everyone else can go. Everyone. Mike Sullivan, Eddie Faulkner, fucking
Friesman Jackson, Pat Meyer.
They can all go.
Just get them out.
They can all go.
Get them out.
Clean sweep. Keep Alfredo Roberts. That's it. Bring in Hines Ward as the wide receiver coach. The wide receivers need it. They need a mentor. They need someone in that fucking room. My God, do they?
And
especially Pickens.
I don't think Jackson's really bringing that to this group.
No, and Ward came in during Steelers training camp as a advisor or whatever the hell he was.
And as a matter of fact, I can't tell you, I can't really recall who the last wide receiver coach was that brought, some guidance to these wide receivers. That got them in the right headspace.
It was Daryl Drake until he unfortunately passed away.
That was short-lived because he unfortunately passed away.
I think Ward would gladly come back to the organization, and as a coach, absolutely, that's a no-brainer. That is a no-brainer decision. You bring in Hines Ward, you bring him in as the wide receiver coach. That's exactly what this locker room needs. That's what this coaching staff needs. They need some old school. They need that mentality in there, bro. They need someone to set these wide receivers straight. Ain't no greater option than probably the greatest wide receiver in Steelers history. Like, for the fucking sake of it, he should be the wide receiver coach.
A guy that's had his fair share of experience.
Word jar.
With the Steelers, and even some drama moments, because, he did hold out one time for contract dispute. I can't remember the year, but, that did happen. A guy that has prior experience with all that,
Yes.
he can take that and teach these young bucks, teach these young receivers we got, like you said, especially Pickens, and mentor them and tell them this ain't how you want to act. This ain't how you want to be.
He's been through it all.
Yeah.
He's been through it all. He wasn't always the perfect wide receiver in the locker room. He wasn't always the perfect, I suppose, role model, whatever you want to say, in the locker room. But I wouldn't call him a diva of some sort, like many people would with wide receivers nowadays. He did it very professionally. But he knew every time he put on that helmet, anytime he put on the jersey, anytime he stepped on that field, it was Pittsburgh Steelers through and through. It was all football. It was all business. It was all about winning.
It was game time.
Everything else was he did it professionally. He handled business when he had to. And that's what the receivers need in the locker room, man. They need to understand that. They need that advice, that experience, that mentor. So does the entire offense. That's spread out through the entire fucking room, man. Lord knows it's what it needs. I'd love to have that.
And if you're looking for somebody on offense to be a leader, even if it's a coach.
Yeah, because we don't have one.
Ward definitely carries all of that as far as leadership capabilities.
Right.
And what he can teach these guys.
Yeah. Kenny's not a leader. At least not yet. Kenny's not a leader. None of these quarterbacks are leaders. They're not. They're just not. Plus, Kenny's in the second year, and I think he's just too young to be a leader. And a part of me thinks that these players don't want to play with Kenny. I'm not trying to start anything. I'm not trying to put words in anyone's mouth. But that's just the vibe I get with some of these players. It's like there's no energy. There's no sense of desire when Kenny's at quarterback, or when anyone's at quarterback, really.
Yeah.
That might change with Mason. I don't know how long it'll last, but it's just that's the sense I get. And there's no leader to set them straight. And that that's with the quarterback. Kenny is the number 2. Yeah. For the rest of the season. I even concern him being the quarterback next year. I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to repeat myself when the season's over, but I've been thinking about this for weeks now. Kenny is a backup quarterback. Kenny's a backup quarterback. He's playing like it. He's putting up stats like it. He's just, he hasn't progressed the way he should in year 2. He's a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a backup quarterback. They didn't bench Kenny. But they should. They should. They won't because he's a first-round guy. They're going to try to get as much as they can in their investment.
They're not going to give up on Kenny, and quite frankly, I don't think Tomlin wants to really deal with a quarterback controversy.
No, he probably
So he's
doesn't.
going to ride with the first-round selection he made in Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
He's not going to give up on that right away, which that's going to be a problem.
I love Kenny still. He has been awful, but after Canada was fired, he started to look good until injury. I'm not going to deny, but 1.5 games or however many games he's going to play this year still isn't enough to justify him being the starting quarterback next year.
But that's also another worrisome thing about Kenny is the injuries.
Yes, 100%.
The guy can't stay healthy. 2 seasons in, he's dealing with how many injuries already? Quite concerning.
Very concerning. Now, yes, a lot of that in part has to do with the offensive line. You have got to fix the O-line.
Yeah, big time.
And the first step of that is moving Broderick back to left. Stop putting players out of position. It's fucking stupid. It has not done you any favors. It has not helped any of these players. It has not helped any quarterback. It has not helped any line. It has not helped any fucking formation you have tried to build up. Putting these players out of position is one of the worst decisions the Steelers can make, and they keep doing it, which is why Broderick has been struggling the right tackle the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Put him back at left. He's a natural left. You're paying Chucks all this money to sit on the bench.
All because he was pissed off about Matt Canada's playbook and Tomlin was
Just
like,
for you to fire him.
Yeah.
So why is he still on the bench? Why are you still playing Dan Moore?
You want to give Chucks an apology?
Why are you playing Dan Moore? Come on, bro.
The reasoning is not worth his punishment.
Dog.
Now I know Chucks hasn't been great this year, but Dan Moore's worse.
Oh my God.
And I'd rather have Broderick Jones over protecting the blind side for whoever our quarterback is.
Dude, move Broderick back to left, put Chucks back at right, and whatever you want to do at right tackle next year. You want to keep Chucks in his last year under a pay cut. I would still draft a right tackle for sure early on. In fact, I know for certain the Steelers are going to keep Kenny as the quarterback. So I'm not going to look at quarterback in the draft, at least not yet until things could change. I'm drafting center and right tackle or vice versa with the first 2 picks.
I'm solidifying offensive line.
And then if the quarterback drops, then you pull the trigger. You want to draft a receiver? Go for it. Because I don't know if you guys are keeping track. Deontay is in the last year of his contract next year, and I don't know if he's getting a 3rd contract. Who would replace him? Perhaps a draft pick next year.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It's very possible, but the 2 main selections I'm making are right tackle and center. You also can't forget corner.
Now you need someone opposite of JPJ.
But
of
I'm secretly hoping we can get Jalen Johnson in the free agency. That's my pipe dream.
They were very, very aggressive getting him. They really tried to get him, but ultimately they didn't.
Right.
And I don't think Chicago wanted to get rid of Jalen Johnson, obviously. Now, there's the possibility they could franchise tag Johnson if they desire to which that's what I'm expecting Chicago to do. But, I mean, you never know with Chicago. You never know.
I never know. Yeah, you
But, I
never
mean, if the
know.
Steelers were that aggressive on trying to trade him, I think they tried to trade a second-round pick for Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
They were that aggressive trying to trade for him. You can damn well bet your bottom dollar if he's a surefire free agent.
Yeah.
They're going to try to get him in for an interview.
Yeah,
They're going to
absolutely.
for a tryout. They're going to try to sign the guy. And quite frankly, I'm doing that. Jalen Johnson's coming off his best year this year with Chicago.
Yeah.
And you need a lockdown guy. 2 lockdown guys for the future.
Here we are talking about off-season already.
I know. It happens.
It's never
bro.
too early,
It
man.
happens.
I always say it's like Christmas.
That's because I mean, listen. There's daring needs for the Steelers after this season,
And safety, yeah. And linebacker. God, we really do need a lot of needs. That means Cons are going to have to get busy. We're going to have to get busy. Cons are going to have to get busy.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they address corner, linebacker, and safety in free agency. Another safety that's being a free agent is Antoine Winfield Jr., but I know the Bucs are going to throw him an empty check.
He's going to get a bag in general. He's coming off a hell of a year.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know, but I'm going to
Very quiet year.
I'm going to dream. I'm going to dream, though.
The bloodlines, bro.
I know.
You know?
Tomlin coached his father.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I'm going to continue the dream. Amarius Mims, he was Broderick's, he was on Broderick's opposite side, the right tackle. That's a big right tackle. I'm drafting all the Georgia linemen.
I'll take their center.
Van Pran.
I'll take their center. I'm getting that Georgia offensive. I go for it.
Actually, man, there's a lot of really good centers in the draft.
Yes, there is.
Steelers have endless options early on.
If there's a time, if there's a time to strike for a center, it's this upcoming draft. No question about it. You cannot stick with Mason Cole, or even if you get rid of him, you can't sign a half-ass center in free agency.
No.
You got to get a long-term franchise center.
They got to stop putting players out of position. They got to put them in their natural position, and they got to fix up tackle and center most importantly. Yeah, I'm happy. Says traded Dotson. Now he's a Pro Bowler for Rams.
Yeah, because he's back at right guard.
Right guard, exactly.
He's back in his comfortable position.
Duh. He performed great. He was our best fucking blocker in 2020 when DeCastro and them went down at right tackle or at right guard, and then you move him into left the next year.
Like why?
What are you doing?
That made no sense.
What are you doing?
And then James Daniels, don't forget James Daniels. He was a left guard for Chicago. We signed him. We put him at right guard. Now he's no. Listen,
And then
he's done very good. Now hold on. That's like the one exception.
But
still,
I'll throw you another one. I'll throw you another
still,
one.
like James Daniels is a better left guard.
But I'll throw you another one. Isaac Sayamaro last year played right guard because Landon Dickerson was at left. Why don't you just swap the fucking guards?
So it's like
swap the tackles.
I'm gonna look back at last year when we signed James Daniels. Why don't you switch Dotson back to right guard, and then you would have
because Pat Myers
Daniels
a fucking
at left
idiot.
guard.
Because Pat Myers an idiot.
And then I heard, how many times did we hear the
God.
excuse, oh, you don't want them to learn a new position, or you don't want that experiment to end? I don't give a shit. You're putting them in their comfortable position.
Not working.
You're putting them in their most comfortable position in the right stance to succeed. I don't give a shit about experiments.
God. Man, think about now. Granted, they've been playing that position. Daniel's been playing that position for 2 years. Do you really want to swap them now?
That's why I said that's the exception, because Daniels has gotten very comfortable at right guard, and he's been very stellar at that.
Sayamalo's been doing good, but
it's still like they're putting them out of position.
Yeah. So no, I would not switch to guards now since they've already had.
No, the guards are fine. The guards are fine.
But Broderick's
I just had to say that.
No, because you're right, and that shows you how they bring these guys in, and their immediate thought is, "Hey, let's put you somewhere where you're not supposed to be." But regardless, move Broderick back to left, grab a right tackle, grab a center. There's your fucking line, easy peasy. Get a corner, get a linebacker in free agency, maybe another wide receiver. Maybe let's see, fucking safety.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned wide receiver because I'll tell you right now, I don't think Robinson's sticking around after this year. Allen Robinson?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think he's sticking around.
By the way, that tweet pisses me off.
Touchdown passes this season. This is from Ari Mirov.
Listen to this closely.
My Sports Update. Passing touchdowns this season. Joe Flacco, 13.
The Giants altogether have 13.
The Panthers altogether 13. The Pittsburgh Steelers, 12. Tennessee Titans, 12. New York Jets,
Joe
11.
Flacco came off the couch 2 months ago and has more touchdowns.
And the Browns officially clinched a playoff berth with the win over the Jets.
Are you fucking
And they will
kidding
have
me?
a better record over the Pittsburgh Steelers for the first time since what, the 80s? It's got to be.
That means I got to fucking hear Browns fans all the time. Nick Carnes and all them fucking jagoffs on Twitter. Go fuck yourself.
Hunger to the max, loose cannon. Congratulations on a solid season.
Fuck the Browns.
But fuck the Browns, sorry.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm having this very achy attitude towards rivals right now. I really don't like my rivals, bro. I don't. That's why I wanted to rack the score up on the Bengals, man. Fuck them. Fuck the Ravens. Fuck the Browns. Fuck all of them. Swear to God.
Joe Flacco led them to 11 wins.
Dude, he's better than Deshaun.
He's playing better than Deshaun. He's playing lights out.
Joe Flacco should be their quarterback next year. I think I'm playing.
I mean, listen, if Denver can get out of the Russell Wilson contract the way they're trying, I mean, like, it's not too late for Cleveland. But then you don't have a long-term solution. But then again, this is Cleveland we're talking about. They can never figure out long-term.
Yeah. I'm a new sub here, just tuned in. Who do you start at quarterback this week? Mason.
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
I'm going with Rudolph.
Speaking of which, I just realized we are, how many are we? We are.
What are you looking at?
We are 32 away from 14,000 subs.
14K, son of a bitch.
14K. That's incredible, dude. That actually got me quiet for a second just thinking about it. It would be some fucking shit if we could hit 14K before the end of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
That would be astonishing. I forget what we started the year with.
I could not tell you.
What did we start the year with? I don't even remember.
I don't even know.
Doesn't Google or YouTube's like give you like a year in review?
I don't got a clue.
I'm gonna check my Gmail, see if I can.
I don't know how that
find it.
works.
All right. The computer's taking forever. I'm gonna check my phone. But what I'm getting at is this all wouldn't be possible without you guys. I know we
100%.
I know we thank you guys a lot, but I don't think we say it enough. So you guys are very much appreciated week in and week out, man. So I mean, it's 11:30. It's got 150 ins in here just talking about whatever at this point because we already got into the playoff hopes and the Steelers Seahawks matchup, but just kind of talking on history and whatever's gonna happen in the offseason.
Yeah.
What about Corey Trice? I'm looking forward to Corey Trice, but I'm not gambling on him. Because that's what the Steelers have done for too many years. They've gambled on unproven depth. He's still unproven. I like for him to be pretty much a new James Pierre, only better. That's what I'm hoping for. But,
Yeah.
But I'm not gambling on Trice because we don't know him. He's a 7th round pick. He's got great value for a 7th round pick, but let's see what he's made of first before going into any crazy conclusions.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this. I don't even know when they sent it. Okay.
You're going to be scrolling, I'll tell you
Year in
that.
review. Okay, this was sent to me on the 12th
Of?
December.
Okay.
We hit almost 4,000 new subscribers this year. Holy shit.
Damn.
Wow, that is fucking insane. Wow. Tomlin fans? I used to be. I used to be.
Oh, you can't tell?
Yeah.
You can't tell?
I used to be a Tomlin defender through and through. No longer.
Used to give him the guy the benefit of the doubt, gave him chance after chance with his own team, his own staff, his own scheme, his own everything. And it's nothing but repeat.
Yes.
Year after year. It's enough is enough, and it's time for a change, says the late, great Owen Hart.
Yeah. Lincoln Park, we appreciate it. Been here since 2017. That's crazy. 2017. That's when we really started doing this like seriously, I suppose.
Yeah. Going full throttle with this thing, yeah.
2017 was a great year. It was a disappointing year for us, but yeah. I take Browns Super Bowl every time I go number 2. So do I. In fact, I might have to do that after we get off stream here. Being serious. I've done it a couple times before we actually go live because it just helps me get ready. It makes me feel confident the Browns went to the Super Bowl, so it's awesome. Rob says 4K new subs. Awesome, man. Y'all deserve it, says Rob. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And the new sub says we're on the same page. Well, that's good to hear. It's good to hear we're on the same page. So, anything else we want to get into before we get on out of here? Anything on Twitter? Browns won. Fuck the Jets.
That's what I'm trying to scroll through. I mean, not off the moment. Not anything off the top of my head.
Oh, my God. For the first time in 34 years, they will pass the Steelers in the division. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, this year's wild.
Okay, I hate saying this. I'll give the Browns this. They've had like 4 or 5 different starting quarterbacks, and they've won with all of them. They have massive resiliency out of all the teams I've seen this year. That's the most credit I'll give them.
Dude, they got 11 wins. They just clinched a playoff spot.
Otherwise, I'm hoping they go. I'm hoping they go one and done, and Deshaun Watson continues to shit the bed. That's all I'll give them. That's all I'll give them. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not happy for the Browns. I would never root for a rival to succeed. I never want to see that. No, not after all the hell we've caused them for 20-something years.
Yeah,
I don't like to see them on top. They might take the division, young boy. They might. I don't know. Anything's possible.
If the Ravens do a late season collapse,
dude, somehow, some way, the Browns might take the number 1 seed if.
And the playoffs could run through Cleveland.
Joe fucking Flacco.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, but there's some odd chance.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. This year's been freaking ridiculous.
If we have some odd chance, so do the Browns being number 1 seed. God almighty. Mike Bodner says, hire Ben Johnson, Lions OC as head coach. I agree.
I would like Ben Johnson. He's definitely the next up-and-coming offensive-minded coach in the league.
Yep, absolutely.
He's definitely going to be getting a lot of candidates out there.
But if there's 2 things that we know for sure are not going to change next year, is Mike Tomlin is going to be the head coach and Kenny Pickett's going to be the quarterback, which means next year is going to be the same thing. We're fucked.
Now, keep in mind, Rooney has no desire to make a change at coach, and Tomlin apparently already is in the plans or in the works of being a part of the Steelers' future roster plans for next year and years beyond that. So
this sign's not going anywhere.
This sign might.
Hey, 2 of them worked this year, okay? 2 of them worked. We had a fire Canada sign, and we had a start Mason sign. No, 3 worked.
And a bench
Levi. We had 3 that worked.
Here, they're right here, actually. Hold on. Let me look out.
We had 3 that worked.
You're on the fucking sign.
Sorry.
God damn it. There we go. Yeah. Yeah,
this was no bench wall.
This was number 1.
We might have to put this back up because he's going to have to play with Pearson playing safety.
This was number 1. The fire Canada sign, if you all remember, it's wrapped up there. I'm not going to bring it down because I don't want to.
Bring it down. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. And start Mason, that happened. So
we might be able to put this back up until he's confirmed.
He's got to be confirmed, dude. He's got to be confirmed. Dude. I'm sorry. There's no way. What am I saying? They're not going to give up on Pickett.
It's more so the wait and see game.
Yeah.
That's what it is with this team. But with that being said, it's 11:38, and I think we're going to call it a stream, and we're going to call it a podcast episode for episode 39 of the Steel Culture Podcast. Shout out to every last one of you for joining us tonight as we discuss the playoff hopes, the playoff scenarios, which are somehow, some way kind of realistic for us, and discussing the Steelers-Seahawks matchup, man. This is a must-win. This is the biggest game of the season. If we lose, then you might as well close the season because our chances next week are very, very low, and I don't even want to think of what's all going to have to happen. So I'm not trying to think about that. I'm just trying to think of trying to win a game and move on to next week. And hopefully it's like a win-and-in situation. We'll see if the Steelers deliver. They delivered last week. They over-delivered, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, they did.
But now they don't have as much on their side. They're coming off their best win in a long time, but not a lot is on their side. It's odd, but it's where we're at right now. So hopefully the Steelers can go into Seattle, and hopefully Mason's the starting quarterback. We can come out with a dub, man. So as you guys know, we'll be live for the game Sunday on New Year's Eve. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be highly investing. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy environment for sure in Seattle. So if you're going to the game, enjoy it. And otherwise, man, we'll see you on Sunday for the Steelers and Seahawks Week 17 matchup. It's must win. Here we go, Steelers, man. Let's just hope they deliver. And by some odd miracle, maybe our playoff hopes will remain alive after Sunday, heading into the new year. But I guess we'll see you then, man. So you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Tomorrow is Friday, making a strong finish. And then we got the weekend. We got the NFL football weekend, man. In fact, we got a lot of Saturday football to look forward to with the NFL, especially with the playoffs coming around. So get through tomorrow, and then we got the weekend. So
yeah, New Year's week, man. And hopefully the Steelers can end the year off on a on a positive note. End the year off with a bang.
Yeah, and I'm trying to go into the new year the same way I went out, which is happy, not sad.
So
It's called setting the tone.
So get it done, Steelers, please.
You guys enjoy the rest of your night, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and enjoy the rest of your new year. Enjoy the rest of 2023, man. Make it a strong finish to 2023. I don't know how your years have been. Hopefully it's been very good to you. It's been solid to us, but let's make it a strong finish as we enter 2024. But we'll see you before that, which is on Sunday. Here we go, Steelers.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace! Oh, let me put one more poll on the chat. One more poll. I want to see you guys' quick responses. All right, if it were to be between these two guys, who would it be? If it were to be between these two guys, be unbiased, who would it be?
Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Yeah. Now, I already know Witherspoon's going to be way ahead of JPJ just because of the stats. You look at Witherspoon's stats, 3 sacks, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
16 passes defended. Like, holy shit. This guy does nothing but make plays on the football, anywhere around the football. But I want to see your guys' engagement. Most of you going to say JPJ. It's getting a little closer there. It's getting a little half and half.
Yeah.
It's getting a little half and half. I think we know Witherspoon's going to lead it, but I think JPJ, man, should definitely be ahead of it. I know everyone looks at stats and all that, but he's been locked down.
That man, we got that man because of Chase Claypool.
Yeah. One of Kevin Colbert's worst draft picks turned out to be one of our greatest saviors.
Omar Khan couldn't wait to get rid of his ass.
And
he seen the opportunity. He was like, gotcha.
Thank God.
I got PZ's son. I got his kid.
In the second round, bro. What a fucking steal.